hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to? Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.
So let's get on the way. We had something happen over the weekend that I heard some people saying that first time it ever happened, a president ever accused another president of spying on him. So,
well, Trump, being the manic, schizophrenic, maladjusted fool that he is, came out Saturday morning after he was frustrated when his attorney general, the bigoted, racist, Confederate Jeff Beauregard Sessions, said that was forced to recuse himself from the Russian investigation because he was implicated with the Russian ambassador, who's also known as a Russian spy. Trump, out of his frustration, tweeted out that President Obama was spying on him, had his Trump Tower wires tapped, that's a quote, and he called Obama a sick, bad man. This set off a firestorm that hasn't abated yet, and people are now calling Trump's bluff. They're saying, okay, baby, well, if you got wiretap, give us some proof. What's your evidence for saying that you were wiretapped? Because as a president of the United States, you just can't go throwing out these kind of wild charges without some type of base to them. Trump, of course, is unable to provide that. And what I really love, a lot of Democrats are saying, you know what, though, Trump? You're right, baby. Let's have a full investigation. Let's appoint a special prosecutor, and let's investigate these charges that you say are well-founded, we say are baseless, and let's find out whether or not there was a FISA warrant that was submitted by the President of the United States and approved by a federal judge to tap your wires. And if not, then let's go back and find out why are you in so many of your campaign or your administration apparatus in bed with Boris and Ivan and all these other Russians? Let's have this. Let's have this investigation. And of course, they're deflecting now. They don't want to talk about that portion of it. They just want to keep on throwing out these, well, if it happened, it could have happened, and maybe if it did, Obama, no. Let's have an investigation and talk about what happened.
You don't want to go there. For an investigation, so now you're getting an opportunity. You shouldn't be running.
Mm-hmm. Of course not.
You should be glad for it and say, hey, bring it on.
Yeah. But see, the thing is that don't nobody believe it. Don't nobody believe anything about that. That's one of the reasons the guy said, no, we ain't even go into that. You know, we don't even want to go into that. You know,
wait a second.
He gonna waste tax money, you know, that much money going into something that he had a dream, maybe a thought about, trying to get the people eye turned to something else, when all eyes now on the Russian deals, you know.
You know, it wasn't a dream. You know what made him do it? Breitbart, the far right-wing white supremacist website, wrote an article, and the article said Obama's silent coup. accusing President Obama about 2 months after he's left office, or about a month and a half after he left office, of effecting a coup against the oppressed and beat upon and put upon Donald Trump by having his wires tapped. He knew he would need to do this, so he set it up in the past to be effective in the future to catch Donald Trump doing something that he was innocent of.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous. But, as I said before, let's have this special prosecutor. Let's put in a lot of bright sunlight. Sunlight's the best disinfectant. And let's see if there's any veracity to what you say, Donald Trump. And if not, you got some explaining to do.
Yeah, yeah.
But, you know, I think the whole, most of his tweets basically is to try to deflect
Mm-hmm.
from
The ru-
what's really going
Yeah.
on.
Mm-hmm.
And I understand that the House and Senate Republican leaders of these committees are willing to do the investigation about the wiretapping. And in fact, I heard it called worse than Watergate.
Yeah.
I mean,
That's a,
you're worse
you
than
want
Nixon.
that? Yeah.
Well, you got to be careful, Paget. What they're doing, well, first thing is you have some Senate Republicans saying, yeah, we ought to have an investigation and we ought to have it within the Congress. You don't have too many on the House side because those are those low IQ, room temperature IQ, Fox News watching, right-wing, Breitbart listening to fools who are lining their pocket and they represent their constituency in that they're just as dumb as their constituents. They don't want to have any kind of investigation. But the senators tend to have a little bit more on the ball between the ears. And what they're saying is, rather than have an open special investigation where they're going to be open to the public, they're going to be on C-SPAN, NBC, ABC, CBS, NBC, MSNBC, CNN, Fox, everybody's going to be watching. People are going to be taking time off from work to watch this, and they're going to be DVRing if they have to work. It's going to be watched because it's going to be sensational. They don't want that.
Mm-hmm.
So rather than say that, they say, well, let's have a congressional investigation, and because they have both the Senate and the House, they can control the witnesses, they can control the pace, and they can keep it private inside of these hearing rooms. So that's the reason why they say it. It's not all of a sudden because they see some type of malfeasance and they got morality kicking in. It's because they're trying to cover it up as much as they can. And the cat's out the bag. There's too much out here. The public is demanding that we have some type of hearing.
Yeah. They're afraid of exposure.
Absolutely, they're afraid of
Yeah.
exposure.
Their ass is out.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Yeah,
excuse me.
yeah, hey, yeah.
It is
Hey,
out.
Yeah.
You know,
It is
that's
out.
true. But you know, I heard somebody said over the weekend, I don't know what station it was on, that why even get into this thing or spending all this money to check something out that the man just come up with something, you know, just trying to throw everybody off from this thing on Russia, you know. He's trying to, you know, instead of the whole weekend being about Russia, you know,
Yeah. Create
he's
something else.
yeah,
Diversion.
you know, that's what he's trying to do.
Well, I think he does a lot of times come up with some of these tweets and outrageous statements as a diversion, but I don't think that was the case this time. I think Trump is a very, very maladjusted man. He's like a 13-year-old boy.
Yeah.
His mental maturity is not there.
He's close to a meltdown.
Yes,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think he was angry. And I think he threw this tweet out there in anger, and it made the fire that much hotter because now these accusations that he's saying that the former President Obama, tapped his wires in the Trump Tower was predicated on Obama wanting to know more about this Russian situation. So you can't investigate the wiretap without investigating the Russian thing. So this notion that it's a diversion to get away from the Russian thing, even if that was Trump's intention, won't be
It's still
successful.
gonna connect.
Yeah, they're too connected. But I don't think that was intention. He's not. This man is not Machiavellian. He's a fool,
Yeah.
and he's angry and he
He
reacted.
can't
How
control
to
his
know?
mouth.
No.
I didn't realize how he was hurting himself.
No, of course
It's
not.
because
He
when you
didn't.
start
He didn't think about it.
jumping like that without thinking, you always put your foot in your mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And he's not strategic. He's not Machiavellian. He doesn't think 3 moves ahead. First thing comes out of his mouth, the last person who talked to him. I mean, this fool is the president of the United States,
Yeah.
Paget, and he's sitting up here. If he's not watching Fox News,
Yeah.
getting some idea
Yeah.
about something to tweet
Yep.
about, he's reading something in Breitbart online.
Yeah.
And Breitbart had this story that Obama was trying to take down the Trump presidency through something they called a silent coup.
And that's all he heard.
This fool's already mad about Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions. He reads that. He takes off to Florida again. You know, the man who wasn't going to take any vacations, going to
Yeah,
work
yeah,
all the time.
yeah.
Takes off to Florida
Yeah.
again, and by the time he arrives there, he's cussing out the landscaper and the housekeeper and the person who peels his potatoes. He's ticked off, and he comes off with this thing. After he'd spent the day before arguing with Bannon and all the staff in the White House, he's going off. This ain't anything he planned. This is a fool acting like a fool, and I love it because he's
He's just being
getting.
himself.
Yeah, absolutely. He's being himself, and he's digging himself in so deep, man. That I hope they keep handing him a shovel. Say, dig a little bit more,
Dig a
Donald.
little more, man.
You know what? You know what president said about your mama. You make him a little bit madder, so he
Right.
keep
Yeah,
running
he
his
keep
mouth.
blowing off.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's have this
Yeah.
investigation.
You see a real meltdown. Yeah.
But you know, now he's what, 45th president?
Yep.
I mean, no other president has come up with something like that against another president.
Such a short time.
Well, in no time.
Never
can't
happened.
know it.
Yeah.
This has never
They
happened.
thought it.
Well, but
They
that's
were sensible enough not to say it.
right. But that's because you don't have an agenda.
Right. Yeah.
That's
Yeah.
true.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you who Trump really is. The actor Don Cheadle, who you guys all know, Sharp brother. Don Cheadle's a successful Oscar-winning Hollywood actor. He's got bank. Well, he rolls with cats who got bank, and most of them are white. And he told a story this past weekend that a few of his white friends were golfing with Donald Trump, not in the distant past. And Donald Trump asked them if they had ever blanked an N-word. Hee hee ha ha. And when they looked at him in shock that he would ask them something like that, he interpreted that to mean that they were kind of admiring him for his conquest. And they went on golfing, and he's oblivious to the fact that they're looking at him like he's a caveman. And so Don Cheadle put this out this weekend. It's just one more reason why that this guy is one of the most despicable human beings you could imagine. And you out there, Cody and Becky and Ralph and Mary Beth, you put him in the office.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
this is what we have.
Yeah.
And this man is now in the position where he is imperiling our very survival because the Russians are about to throw him overboard. They can't control him.
Right.
The Chinese are looking at him side-eyed and
Yeah.
making threats about what they're going to
Yep.
do with Taiwan.
Yep.
Just Saturday morning, I take that back. Yesterday morning, the Koreans launched 4 more missiles into the Sea of Japan,
Yep.
pretty much daring Trump to
Yep.
do something.
Yep.
And this dude is so insecure and so childish and has such a terrible temperament that there's no telling what he'll do. This man has the nuclear code.
Right.
Yeah.
But the hand analyst seen him when he signed this contract, and he said that's the signature. Every signature that he put in his penmanship has to do with an egotistical person.
Oh yeah, yeah. He's narcissistic as he can be. Yeah,
Right.
absolutely.
Yeah, that's the word she used.
Yeah, yeah. Oh, he's a narcissist, no question about it.
Yeah.
He is.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told you all here a couple of weeks ago.
yeah. He's a dangerous
If
man.
you were to give him a thorough evaluation, you will find that man is full of neuroses and
Absolutely,
psychosis.
absolutely,
Yeah.
absolutely.
But to me, he's a typical white man.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, the Koch brothers are just as criminal as he is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And there's so many of them up there at the top.
Oh yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
But it scares me that the black community, and we don't take it seriously. There's an urgency for us to do something on our level as a people and a community. And
Well, I think they are.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys know, but at Jubilee this past weekend, they had a mock trial about the oppression of African Americans in these United States. And they said rather than start with slavery and then we marched and we overcame and here we are. They said, let's dig into the real history. So they brought out one of the preeminent African history historians, a man by the name of Leonard Jeffries. You and I have seen him in person. And Leonard Jeffries took it back to the motherland. And he explained how history started in the Nile Valley, how mathematics, how architecture,
Music.
how engineering, music, medicine, the first brain surgeons. He explained how all this started in the Nile Valley, how all of this was brought to a screeching halt because of invasions, how the culture moved to Central and West Africa, and at the time that Europeans were in the Dark Ages, literally in the Dark Ages, before the Moors invaded Spain in 711 AD, that you had a culture that was so rich and powerful in the area we now call Mali, that they had a library at Timbuktu that had more books and manuscripts than the rest of the world combined. This is before 711 AD. This is Central Africa. And you had this going on at a time when the Europeans were literally suffering through what they called the plagues, where they had these disease infestations carried by fleas because the hygiene was so poor.
sleep with the
So
animals.
yeah, people died. Yeah, all that. So he brought it forward to how the transatlantic slave trade, what they call chattel slavery, was the first form of slavery to ever dehumanize its victims. You're not a human being, so we could do with what we will,
But you were
and
damned.
God is sanctioning this. And we can take your children, and they're born into slavery, we can take them from you. We can put all this psychological pressure on you and
never come out of it.
and distort who you think you are, and then we ask why we act the way we do today. But his point was that until we reconcile, first we have to understand our history, and then we have to reconcile our history before we can move forward. It's something I firmly believe in. But the overarching message of this thing here was, if we're going to talk about where we stand now, we've got to throw out some accusations at the people who put us there, and we've got to get some recompense.
Yeah.
And it all comes down to reparations.
Yeah, yeah. And just respecting one another because of what you've been through as an individual, and you survived.
Yeah, that was one of the topics.
Yeah.
Why do we disrespect each other? Why don't we support each other? Why do we treat each other so bad? That's when one of the brothers made the analogy I made earlier. If you put all those he said, if you take everybody in this church here and you lock all the doors and you put 18 cases of water over there and you put a couple hundred sandwiches over there and you say, okay, have at it.
Somebody gonna
In
get
a
hurt.
few weeks, you're going to have black on black crime. And so every time nowadays, anytime Fox News wanted to divert the conversation, Chicago.
Yeah.
Crime has been dropping dramatically since 2000 until today. We had a minor uptick last year. But if you look at what happened last year, even with that uptick compared to 2000, it's dropped dramatically. Things are improving even though we don't see the economic development. So I think we have to look and see, first of all, what was done to us, when it was done to us, why it was done to us, and reconcile that before we can start talking about what we individually need to be doing better.
Right. Because I look just within our group, the Unity Project. I can see the spirituality just from the conversation, the dialogue that we have within that group.
And we're not the only ones.
Right. And then when you go down to Detroit and plug into the spirit down there,
Absolutely.
oh man, yeah.
And you know, there's got to be, even though I couldn't tell you the name and the size of the group, I would be confident that you could go to Jackson, you could go to Battle Creek, you could go to Kalamazoo, you could go to Grand Rapids, you could go to Fort Wayne, Indiana, Lexington, Kentucky, and there's African Americans doing the same things we're doing, looking for answers and trying to coalesce around an issue of improvement. So I think we're getting there, and I think it's going to happen, but we've got to understand the condition we're in and how we got here, and then be patient with each other.
Question. We were talking about Trump a while ago.
Yeah.
Okay. How do you see his administration fitting into a setting like this that you're talking about?
Oh, they
Coalescing and all
well,
this stuff?
Denial.
Well, yeah, because number one is that these people are they're so far away from reality, you know, and they just in this group that thinks like them. Everybody don't think like them.
Yeah.
Something wrong with them.
Yeah. And nobody knows but us
Yeah.
what it feels like
Yeah.
to be in this community.
Right, yeah.
You can't explain this to nobody else.
No.
A cracker wouldn't understand
No.
this.
No.
I
No.
mean, you had to talk to us
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
deal with the situation that we've been
Yeah.
in. You know, this is a heavy thing that you under.
Mhm.
But we taking it lightly, but it's a change coming.
Well, I think there's a lot. I think there's a lot of learned Europeans out there who either have good morality or good intellect or both, who see the threat that this administration is. Let's look down the list. You got Steve Bannon, an avowed white supremacist, who regularly quotes from this French novel whose name escapes me, that talks about the way that the white man could suppress and dominate and wipe out other races. You've got Stephen Miller, the dude they call Baby Goebbels, who came on TV a few weeks ago and said that you can't question the president. This man, since he was in junior high, has been an avowed racist. He once said, as an 8th grader, we shouldn't have to take our food and trays away. We should make them illegal Mexicans come over here and clean our mess up. You go past him, you got Jeffrey Beauregard Sessions, an avowed racist, who not only was a racist in the past, is already undoing many of the initiatives of the Barack. So you could go down the list of Trump's administration, and they are white ring supremacists. And then you look and you have guys like Stephen Colbert and David Letterman and people in the House and the Senate who are white Europeans who criticize and disavow what this administration do because they see the danger. They see what this could do to the world. Well, if you let these guys get away with what they're doing, they could start a conflagration that makes everyone's life in peril and danger. So yeah, you're getting some pushback against these cats. But if you want to ask what they are, they're I wouldn't call them Nazis. I would call them nutsies. They're right-wing goose steppers without a shred of common sense.
Then we can't say we're going to our government. We can't go to the federal government, considering what we have now.
Well, you got a lot. They just had an article in the New York Times yesterday, Padgett, about that. They were talking about the Justice Department and how you have these career lawyers in there, and how when you have a Democratic president, he tends to appoint more liberal lawyers, and when you have a Republican president, they're more conservative. But in the middle there, you tend to have this balance where these guys are career employees, and they tend to have a more centrist, common sense approach. Well, what Trump is doing with the Justice Department and Jeff Sessions is causing such turmoil that they are literally slowing down and not doing the work because they say these guys are trying to turn us back into the 1930s and 40s and bring back Jim Crow. It's a great article. You ought to read it. I would advise that for anybody. But yeah, they are very dangerous people.
And one of the things is that you know, the U.S. is supposed to be at the top. So all the rest of the countries look to the U.S. And now look who we got. Look who we got supposed to be leading the U.S. You know, hey man, this is crucial. It's crucial. Yeah, really.
It's funny you said that because they had another article this weekend talking about how most of the world, Germany, Britain, France, Italy, et cetera, they're saying we got to come up with a new leader, and they're looking at Germany. And if you know your history, that's a dangerous place to plant your stake. So yeah, the world's in turmoil because of this orange fool we have here, Angel Orange, sitting there in the office with his $5 toupee, talking stuff. We're in some serious danger because of this cat.
Beginning to repeat itself.
Amen. So
Okay, let's face it. We don't have anybody up top to say, let's put a lid on things and can. As a matter of fact, they are digging out the dirt. By the way, didn't Trump say he was going to clean out the sewage? But did he stop to see where the sewage is coming from?
Well, he said he's going to drain the swamp. So his answer to drain the swamp was put more alligators from Wall Street in there. So yeah, man, he's a liar. On top of being a fool, he's a liar.
You know,
but on the same time, man, Russia's looking at him side eye and say, you know, we can't control this cat. And Russia has the goods on him. They know how much money he's loaned from him. He knows how much business. They know about the prostitutes and the golden showers. They got it all.
That's what he's nervous about.
Of course.
So we got 4 minutes.
Okay.
So, but you're talking about having the goods. Now, I understand. I heard it said that Russia didn't really want Trump. They wanted the vice president. don't be surprised if someday, somehow, they get him out so that the vice president takes over. Now,
They
bear
wanted
in
Trump.
mind-
They wanted
I
Trump.
don't know.
No, they wanted
Yeah.
I'm
Trump.
just saying what was
Yeah.
said.
Yeah.
Okay.
Bush would have never made
I'm
it.
not
his
subscribing
own.
to it.
No, he wouldn't have made it
We
nowhere.
have to bear in mind that there's a whole lot going down. Because of who we have as a president, as the president of this country,
Mm-hmm.
who is supposed to be the leader of the free world,
Yeah. And leader,
it means the world doesn't have a leader.
right,
Yeah.
right. That's it.
A leaderless world,
Mhm.
we are in all kinds of trouble.
Yeah.
That's why they look in the Germany
Yeah.
pageant.
Look,
Yeah.
man, it's bad.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Bad news.
Yeah.
But this has been coming for a long time.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And I know, we know, it's gonna get worse.
Yeah.
You know, one of the things is that I've said this a while ago. These two ladies was friends, and one of them, they just happened to meet at the store, grocery store. They'd been friends about 17 years, and one of them was telling the other one, "Oh, I voted for Trump," and and she said, "What?" He said, "I voted for Trump," and from that moment, I was reading this. I don't know what I was reading it in, but anyway, this lady who voted for Hillary told her, "That's it." See, yeah, I don't want to. So I don't want to.
Nothing to do with
No,
you.
so I don't want to. I don't want to talk to you. I don't want to see you.
Yeah.
Nothing.
Walking or riding.
No. Hey.
Hey, man, I've got some people I call friends. Not best friends, but I'm friendly with them.
Mhm.
People who live close to me, man. Talk about the game, how your children doing. So our children play. And I saw a Trump Pence sign of the yard, and I don't see him the same anymore.
Hey.
I don't have any impulse to say, hey, how you doing? What's going on? I just wave, keep on going.
No.
So yeah, it makes you wonder.
Yeah. You know,
Now you see, I could talk to them.
I
I
couldn't.
don't have a problem with who you choose to vote for or support.
If you were a Jew in Germany, would you feel the same way about somebody voting for Hitler?
I'm glad I'm not
Yeah,
but you are.
yeah.
But you a black man in America
Yeah.
voting for Jeffrey Beauregard
Yeah.
Sessions, and you can say, yo, that's
thing
cool.
is- the whole thing is, we look back at it one way or another. I could be here with you, tolerate you enough to sit and talk with you. It doesn't mean that you have convinced me to be like you. And that is one of the things you're having
Well,
even these probably on the street, all these gatherings, because some people don't think
But-
that they could stand opposition.
you know, for me, it would be difficult for me because. But look what the man you voted for. Look what he stands for.
There you
I mean,
go.
if you vote for a man like this,
What's that tell me about you?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's how I feel
you
about
know,
it.
I mean that's as simple as that.
Who taught you to hate the texture of your hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin to such extent that you bleach to get like the white man? Who taught you to hate the shape of your nose and the shape of your lips? Who taught you to hate yourself from the top of your head to the soles of your feet? Who taught you to hate your own kind? Who taught you to hate the race that you belong to?
Don't let anybody make you think that God chose America as his divine messianic force to be a sort of policeman of the whole world. God has a way of standing before the nations with judgment, and it seems that I can hear God saying to America, you are too arrogant. If you don't change your ways, I will rise up and break the backbone of your power, and I'll place it in the hands of a nation that doesn't even know my name. Be still and know that I'm God.